Why do you think the Prime Minister hasn't called the election yet, or won't call the election?
Oh, look, I think obviously Western Australia is due on the 8th of March. It would be brave of him to interfere with the Western Australian election. They're very parochial in WA, and so they should be. I suspect that the 12th of April is looking very firm as a date. He'll let the Western Australian state election go. He won't want to do a budget. There'll be a sea of red ink, one in which we got an insight into yesterday, where our standard of living isn't going to improve for nearly a decade. So Australians will ask themselves, do they feel better after 3 years of Anthony Albanese? But is there any chance of them getting better of 3 more years of Anthony Albanese? And the answer to those two questions is no, because even Treasury themselves say that they've lost control of this economy. And you know, when you look at the fact they've failed to even budget properly for wage increases of the public servants that they've negotiated, $7 billion they've failed to negotiate. Things are looking grim. So we've got to get back to basics, and I think the Prime Minister is just starting early because he knows he's coming from a long way behind. Australians have asked themselves if they feel better off, and will they be better off with 3 more years of Anthony Albanese? And they're overwhelmingly say no, they won't, because the ideology isn't meeting the practical reality of what's been bled out of their wallets.
According to a new report or survey, 34% of Australian vegetable growers were considering leaving the industry within a year. Why is that?
Well, they're not getting a fair go from supermarkets. The evidence has been clear. When we were in government, we undertook a perishable goods inquiry. There were 4 recommendations from the ACCC on that. It didn't include divestiture powers to make sure that there was regulatory guide rails and penalties to make sure that supermarkets dealt properly with farmers as well as consumers. And since then, we've seen the ACCC chair make public statements in April last year saying she believed it'd be a tool she would like to have in the toolkit in managing supermarkets. They've already taken the supermarkets to court. Yet Anthony Albanese has ignored that, and he's brought in big new penalties. Let me tell you what the big new penalty is $198,000. They'll pull that out of a till out of one of their stores. We're saying it should be a flat $2 million ramping up to divestiture powers. Those are the tools to give farmers confidence, and a supermarket commissioner that allows farmers to come forward. But what we're seeing is because the supermarkets control the market, they're controlling farmers and prices, and they can't keep going. They have to make a living, and they're leaving. And we're seeing the human toll of that. But what you will see is less production. And when there's less production, your prices will go up because supply goes down, your prices go up. And Anthony Albanese is not interested in taking on the big supermarkets. We are. We put a bill in and we'll bring it back in as soon as we're elected to give protection to consumers and to farmers. When we even see today a report where grocery bills are going to go up by another $1,000 a year next year because this government's been asleep at the wheel and out of touch in understanding what Australians are feeling. There's some families tonight that will miss a meal because they can't afford it.
Nationals leader David Littleproud, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much.